Alright, getting some people piled in here. Just want to get this shared out. Don't know why it still says Venezuela. Alright, where are we at here? Oh, interesting. So there's reports that Iran has ordered the Palestinian Islamic Jihad to fire rockets at Tel Aviv as a response to the arrests of PIJ and Severin members. Very interesting. So Israel will obviously not be too big a fan of that. I'm sure the United States won't either. Alright, let's wait for some more people to pile in here. Man, those explosions are huge. Yeah, same here. Actually, I was out for a walk and got a rocket alert, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, where's this place at? Then I realized that it was along the coast, and it was Tel Aviv, and I was quite confused. I didn't really think the day would come that I would see a rocket alert for Tel Aviv. But, yeah, here we are. See if any aircraft have gone up. And then I'll take a look at airspace as well. I want to see if any flights are being diverted around the area. So just a bit of a recap while people are piling in here. There were 2 rockets, I believe, Fajr 5 rockets were fired at Tel Aviv, capital of Israel. Probably, I'd say a good about 30 minutes ago. Benjamin Netanyahu is en route to his security assessment area, where he's going to do a security assessment with his cabinet members. There have been bomb shelters have been opened in Tel Aviv, and as well as Tel Aviv, Rishon LeZion, Holon, and Bat Yam. Bomb shelters have been opened there as well. There were reports of explosions in Gaza, but I don't believe those are confirmed at this time. So, as of right now, we're just kind of waiting. This has been 5 years since rockets were fired at this area. So it's been quite some time. Last time rockets were fired in that area was during the Operation Protective Edge, I think it was what it was. Operation Protective Edge, yeah, there you go. 2014 Israel-Gaza conflict was the last time that rockets were fired in that area. So it's been quite some time. The missiles were only targeting Tel Aviv. Yeah, I believe so. The rockets were fired towards that area. They didn't land. I think one landed in an open area and the other landed in the water. But I'm not 100% sure. That was not confirmed. Oh, but as of right now, no injuries have been reported. Israel has asked the Egyptian Egyptian team that's in the area to leave urgently. They're urgently asking them to leave. So, Ignis Fatum has posted a peak Israeli video of someone from Holon stating, "We hope this is a false alarm," then an explosion. Okay, this is an explosion and totally not a false alarm. Interesting. So another area here has opened their bomb shelters. This is another area in the Tel Aviv region. So this whole area here is very populated. If we look at the population of Tel Aviv, it's pretty big, 429,000. And Haifa also has quite a bit of people, but it's not as close, or it's closer to, it's further away from the Gaza, or from Tel Aviv, but this whole area here is pretty populated. So if these rockets are fired from the northern Gaza Strip, they're probably fired from Jabalia. So I'm looking here, like distance, measure distance to Tel Aviv. Just say they went like right there. 42 miles. So this rocket's targeted 42 miles. Or traveled 42 miles. Yeah, they were big explosions. But I believe they were Iron Dome interception explosions. Not 100% sure on that though. So there has been, like I said earlier, there are reports of explosions in Gaza Strip, but not 100% sure. Stand With Us, not quite sure who they are, but they're claiming 5 rockets were fired. Haven't seen anything on that, but that's interesting. The latest report was 2, so definitely interesting to see that. See, now they're saying here 2 rockets were fired from Gaza, 1 intercepted above Tel Aviv metro area, 1 fell at sea. Shrapnel hit residential areas in the city of Holon. How far is that from Tel Aviv? Okay, it's right there. Not far from Ben Gurion Airport at all. Very interesting that Ben Gurion hasn't really had any major flight restrictions. Iran behind this, most likely. There was a report earlier that Iran had directed the rocket fire. But if we look here at Ben Gurion, there's really no major flight restrictions. Unless these flights are all... Interesting, these flights might be dodging Tel Aviv. They might be flying out this way. Usually they'll fly out and go directly over Tel Aviv. So, I'm looking to see if these flights are going to start going this way instead of... No, because that wouldn't make sense. No, I don't know. Doesn't look like there's any major flight restrictions for Ben Gurion, which, considering the timing, is very interesting. So earlier somebody was asking what the motivation would have been. Earlier today, there were a bunch of Gazans protesting in the Gaza Strip. They were protesting high living costs. And as mentioned before, I believe I retweeted it, Hamas and the other major factions have actually decided they would create an external conflict to distract people from paying attention to the internal conflict. Like, they'd start a conflict with Israel so they could prevent people from noticing the internal conflict going on in the Gaza Strip. So that could be a very likely reason. So the Egyptian delegation has now left Gaza through the Erez checkpoint and is heading back to Egypt. So, Egyptian delegation is now getting out of the area. Which could be a sign of something to come, not sure. Everybody's just kind of waiting. Anxiously awaiting what's going on here. On a side note, who's looking forward to the Tesla Model Y reveal? Looks like it's going to be pretty nice. Elon Musk is definitely hyping it up a good bit. Interesting. So, Bombardier Global Express Sentinel R1 is now tracking over Lebanon. Interesting. That's interesting. Like, probably... Why is it tracking over Lebanon? That looks like it started tracking over Syria, which obviously I don't think is the case. Yeah, it was tracking near Tel Aviv, now it's tracking over the Lebanon-Syria border. Which I don't think that's the case, but this is a battle command aircraft. But I would assume it's probably for Operation Shader, but I'm not sure. It's interesting. I'm wondering if it's going to start tracking properly again. Must be something going on near my house. You hear a bunch of sirens. Sorry about that. I live right next to a fire station. Tends to happen. So this is video of a police presence in Holon, Israel, after reports of shrapnel hit the area. So you can see different Israeli police vehicles going through the area.
סגרו את כל הכביש, סגרו גם שם. תראי כמה ניידות, תסתכלי מה זה, איזה כוחות. הם סרוקים.
Interesting. So it looks like everything's pretty tense right now. So, as somebody just posted here, as Israel weighs options for retaliation against Gaza, they are walking a tightrope. The retaliation needs to be powerful enough to demonstrate resolve to the Israeli population, but going too hard at Gaza will force Hamas into committing to the PIJ triggered escalation. So that is very true. Spokesperson for the Islamic Jihad, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, that is the PIJ. That's the group that fired the rockets. Has stated we are in a open war with the Israeli occupation. That coming from the spokesperson for the PIJ. Reports from Gaza quoting a PIJ senior official stating that they did not fire the rockets and that they are following the situation closely. Interesting. So possibly PIJ has not fired the rockets, which I would believe would leave Hamas as the only remaining group to have a rocket capable of that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rocket that was fired. So, the Fajr 5 is an Iranian rocket. It was developed during the 1990s. And it was used. It's been used numerous times actually. In the Middle East. You can kind of see. Here's a picture of it. This is an Iranian Fajr 5 rocket. See, there's different ways of launching them. But yeah, it's quite a big rocket. It's bigger than like the majority of the mortars and other things that different factions use. The Fajr 5 MLRS is made possible for the Iranian army and its customers through local production backed by support from China. Manufacturers Defense Industries Organization in Iran, production 50, operators Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, Libya, and Syria. So you can see some different specs of the rocket. It's definitely a strong rocket. There was a video. See if I can find the video of the rocket fired and actually landing. Is this it here? I believe this is a video just showcasing the rocket. But this is typically regarded as the strongest rocket that the different factions have. Here's a video by the Israeli Defense Force from 2012 talking about the Fajr 5 rocket.
A rocket threat from Gaza. In recent years, thousands of Qassam and Grant rockets have been fired upon Israel from the Gaza Strip. Hamas upgraded its arsenal by acquiring Iranian-made Fajr 5 rockets. The Fajr's 90-kilogram warhead stands as Hamas's largest and most lethal threat. Within its range of 75 kilometers lies the largest population center in Israel, the Tel Aviv metropolitan area. If launched, the rocket would inevitably paralyze the Israeli economy and school system, threatening more than 3.5 million civilians in the heart of Israel.
So there you go. That was from 2012. A video of Israel detailing the Fajr 5 rocket. It was the Israeli Defense Force. So, the Joint Operations Room, which is a group of all the major factions inside of the Gaza Strip, has started. So we probably could expect a response soon. Some kind of detail by them. So a security convoy carrying Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has pulled into the IDF HQ in Tel Aviv. So I would assume we'll see something from the Prime Minister himself pretty soon. Here's the initial rocket alert that's coming about an hour ago. Let's go ahead and get the English version. Oh, I guess it's basically the same thing. You can see here. This is the original area that the rocket was fired to, or at least that's where the original. That's originally where the rocket alert came from. The original area that it sounded in. So Anna Ehrenheim reporting as well on what we saw earlier, that the PIJ is denying that the rockets were fired, were from them. The initial reports was that the PIJ was responsible for the rocket fire. So now they're denying those reports, which of course would leave Hamas as the only faction to have a Fajr 5 rocket. So this is something I've seen before. This guy here, Syrian_MC, he has posted a hostile strike on Syria, west-north sectors as expected. He's posted this before and it hasn't happened, but definitely something to keep an eye out. I doubt Israel would strike Syria, considering what just happened, considering they have their own major conflict that they're going to have to worry about. But definitely interesting. Israeli senior official tells me that the initial estimate in Israel is that Hamas does not stand behind the shooting and that the rockets were launched by another Palestinian organization trying to sabotage the relaxation efforts. Interesting. So, as stated, that could be a reason for Israel to respond softly, but who knows? I guess we won't know until we find out. Israeli Defense Online. 2 rockets were identified from the Gaza Strip into Israeli territory. The alarm and discovery systems worked as needed. The aerial defense system did not intercept. Interesting. No damage or casualties. No special instructions for the NAPE. Obviously some funky translating going on there, but statement from the Israeli Defense Force Online Twitter account. Let's put this into perspective at the moment. If the PIJ did not fire the rocket, and neither did Hamas, and there's another issue is a third road faction. Interesting. So they're basically saying that there's a chance that Hamas didn't fire it or the PIJ didn't fire it, so there would be another faction that was responsible for the fire. But my question is, what other major faction is there in the Gaza Strip that would have that kind of firepower? The Fajr 5 rocket is not something that every faction has. It's pretty expensive. See if I can find anything on military factions. So there's a couple here. These are some of the major ones, I guess. You have the PLO. I don't know if they're still active. Palestine Liberation Organization. I've saw some stuff on them before, but I'm not quite sure if they're active still. But there's Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. That's a group that sounds familiar. Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine is a secular Palestinian Marxist, Leninist, and revolutionary socialist organization founded in 1967. It's consistently been the second largest of the groups forming the Palestine Liberation Organization. Okay, so it's the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine is actually it's a group of different groups. It's different groups within a group. According to this here's the different military groups that are part of it. I almost wonder if possibly Hamas gave these rockets to another faction and had them launch it to make it look like they didn't launch it, which would be interesting. So the Israeli Defense Force is reporting that no interceptions were made. So that would go against the reports earlier that a rocket was intercepted above a metro area in Tel Aviv. Israeli defense spokesperson confirming 2 rockets were launched, but no interception was needed. Perhaps the rockets were just destined to fall into the water then, and they decided that it wouldn't be worth their time to launch interceptor missiles at it, because those missiles are quite expensive to fire. As we've seen before, the Iron Dome is able to project where the rockets are going to land, and it then calculates within a couple seconds whether or not it needs to fire a rocket or not, or a missile, to intercept a projectile. So Elint News has posted something that I was thinking about earlier. The explosions that were heard were probably just the Iron Dome missiles self-destructing. After a while, they just will self-destruct if they don't come in contact with anything. So that would explain the explosions being heard. This is a video earlier of Iron Dome interceptor missiles fired at projectiles. So, if no Iron Dome interceptors were fired, then I'm curious as to what this video is showing. Because there were a lot of videos showing projectiles being fired. So if no interceptor missiles were fired, then I'm not quite sure what that video would be. So, Benjamin Netanyahu is at the Israeli Defense Force headquarters now in Tel Aviv. So at the moment we're just kind of waiting for, I don't know, we're just kind of waiting to see what happens next. Okay, so yeah. The Iron Dome was fired, so yeah, okay. The video would make sense then, my bad. No interceptions, yeah, that's right. No interceptions, but there were interceptor missiles fired. So as of right now, nothing has really happened. I'm probably just going to kind of chill here and wait. If anything else happens, I'll come back online. So just kind of keep posted to the Twitter page. And if anything else happens, I'll come back online. So thank you guys for tuning in. Talk to you guys later.